enjoy all kinds of...
WeatherScope.
And you're looking live at the Montauk Point Lighthouse in New York. You're waking up to some rain and breezy conditions with gusts there up to 32 miles an hour bouncing around our sky cam, as you can see. And that's the northern edge of a storm that has dumped snow and heavy rain across the mid-Atlantic states. We have thick snow in the Appalachians, heavy rain, and high winds along the coastline, all the product of the same system. And that storm is making a move to the north. For the latest, including a live report, let's join Marshall Cease in the Forecast Center.
Thanks, Kristen. Good morning, everyone. If you wonder why that video picture at Montauk Point was in motion, that video camera high in the sky getting buffeted by some winds now that are between 35 and 40 miles per hour. So that's the reason for the jitter that you're watching. We have a major storm. It's now located over northeast North Carolina, and it's swinging in a ton of moisture into the mountains of Pennsylvania and West Virginia, where we've got a situation now out in North Carolina that's a pretty bad one. There are people without power, about 100,000 people in Buncombe County alone, about 65,000 people in Asheville, North Carolina. Here's what it looked like yesterday with that storm that moved into North Carolina. It dumped about 1 to 2 feet of snow. Now this is Polk County, North Carolina, and it created hundreds of accidents this morning. Interstate 40 westbound is closed through Polk County. Asheville police say Interstate 40 is totally closed from Asheville to the Tennessee state line. Schools and businesses also remain closed across western North Carolina. Again, many trees and power lines down. Very heavy, wet snow that fell last night and created all the problems. I want to take you there too. We have Sergeant Don Babb with the Asheville Police on the line, and he's going to tell us about conditions now. Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning.
Would you describe conditions now, please, and their impact on folks in the area?
They're pretty treacherous at this point. All the secondary roads are still covered in snow, and it's piled up, so even four-wheel drives with low clearance are having a hard time getting around. All the schools are closed, plants are closing, and are even delaying several hours before they even open up.
Now, we had reports that you were busy throughout much of the night saving some stranded motorists. Is that true?
Oh, yes. Stranded motorists, welfare checks with the power lines down, telephone lines down. Friends and relatives couldn't reach their loved ones, so we were out checking on people all night.
Sergeant, thank you for that report. We understand conditions are going to be bad for a pretty long time, at least through today and tomorrow. But we're going to get some warm air in there, not like the storm in 1993 where you had the cold air moving in behind it. So I suppose that's good news. Then we have to worry about flooding problems probably. Let's take a look at the map again, show you where those gale warnings are. First I want to take you though, well, let me show you this first. Down here in North Carolina is where we do still have gale warnings in effect. Now, the winds have subsided somewhat out at Nags Head, and that's where Mike Seidel is stationed. Mike, yesterday, if you remember, brought us the storm, the arrival of the storm, and gave us an idea of what was going to happen leading up to it. And he was there for it. Good morning, Mike. Conditions are how now?
Marshall, much better this morning than they were this time last night. We went through a period of very heavy rainfall and high winds. And we estimated gusts last night here at Nags Head at the fishing pier at about 45, maybe 50 miles an hour. Now we're back a little farther north here at Nags Head this morning, and the ocean behind me has quieted down, but last night we had a combination of wind and rain, and the wind was really pounding the area, a lot of pounding on the roadways, and some pretty rough surf out on the piers, especially out on the end of the piers. Over at the Corps of Engineer piers, they were indicating waves as high as 9, 10, 11 feet. But some of the residents took the necessary precautions just to be on the safe side, because some of the areas are not protected by the dune line, which we have here at Nags Head, especially around Kill Devil Hills and up around Kitty Hawk, and they did some sandbagging. The rain ended overnight, and this morning now we're left with cloudy skies, which will give way to some sunshine this afternoon. But as the sunshine comes back out and the storm pulls away, we'll get a very strong offshore wind, west-northwest, and that will begin to pile some of the water up on the other side, on the sound side, the Pamlico and Albemarle Sound. So there could be some sound side flooding into this evening. As far as high tide here, it's coming up the next hour up to the dune line. We expect no problems here. Again, Marshall, the worst of the weather in the state of North Carolina this morning is obviously in the mountains and not here at the coast. All highways here, including I-95, are wide open for you this morning.
Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you again in about a half an hour. As Mike was talking about, there are coastal flood advisories that are still in effect, and that includes where Mike is located, but also northward toward Sandy Hook, New Jersey, and that includes the coastline of New Jersey. Now, the rain-snow line is south of Boston and New York. Because of that onshore flow, we've got temperatures above freezing here, so it's mostly rain. Very heavy rain is falling down around Washington, D.C. right now in the Cumberland Plateau area. Over in West Virginia, we have heavy snow that's been pelting Charleston, West Virginia for the last several hours, snowing at greater than 2 inches per hour. New York is all rain now. About the most frozen precipitation, or the closest we can find to New York, is at White Plains, indicating a little freezing rain. So is Allentown, Pennsylvania, some freezing rain there. Outside of that, you have to get into the mountain areas like the Laurel Mountains and Highlands out here in order to find the sleet and snow, and all along the spine of the Appalachians through West Virginia.